In a quiet village, there lived a young man named Ethan. He was kind-hearted and full of big dreams. But he had one major weakness. He always relied on others to make decisions for him. Whether it was about school, his career, or personal life, he would always turn to his friends, family, or teachers for advice, expecting them to guide him every step of the way. Ethan's father, an old and wise man named Samuel, noticed this habit and grew concerned. One evening, as they sat outside their house, his father said, "Ethan, come with me tomorrow morning. I want to show you something important." Curious, but unsure of what his father had in mind, Ethan agreed. The next morning, his father took him to a dense forest near their village. As they walked deeper into the woods, his father pointed to a young tree and asked, "Tell me, Ethan, how does this tree stand so tall and strong?" Ethan thought for a moment and replied, "Because it gets water from the soil and sunlight from the sky." His father smiled and nodded. "That's true. But imagine if this tree started relying on another tree to grow. What do you think would happen?" Ethan looked puzzled. His father continued, "If a tree depends on another tree for support instead of standing on its own, it will never grow strong. The moment the other tree falls, it will fall too." Ethan listened carefully, starting to understand his father's point. They walked further into the forest until they reached an old well. Its walls were covered in moss. His father picked up a stone, dropped it into the well, and asked, "Did you hear that?" Ethan replied, "Yes, I heard it hit the water." His father smiled. "Now imagine if the stone refused to fall because it was waiting for another stone to go first. Would it ever reach the water?" Ethan shook his head. "No, it wouldn't." His father's eyes softened. "That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you, my son. You're like that stone. You keep waiting for others to take the first step, to decide your future. But life doesn't work that way. If you keep depending on others, you'll never reach your destination." Ethan stood there, deep in thought. He realized how much time he had wasted waiting for approval and guidance from others. He thought about the opportunities he had missed because he was too afraid to take responsibility for his own choices. From that day on, Ethan decided to change. He started making decisions for himself, no matter how small. He stopped waiting for others to push him and took control of his own actions. At first, it was difficult. He made mistakes, faced failures, and even doubted himself. But with each step, he grew stronger and more confident. Years later, Ethan became a successful entrepreneur. People in his village admired him for his courage and determination. One day, a young boy approached him and asked, "Sir, what's the secret to your success?" Ethan smiled and said, "The day I stopped depending on others and took charge of my own life, everything changed." Depending on others for every decision will hold you back. Success and confidence come when you take responsibility for your own actions. If you want to change your life, stop waiting for others. Take the first step today.